Welcome to Echoes of Hollywood. The last time you saw some of these faces, you may have been 30, 40, even 50 years younger yourself. You never knew it would be the last time. The show simply ended, life moved on, and somehow the people we welcomed into our homes disappeared with the years. Today, we're finding them again. Some are still thriving. Some walked away without looking back. And some never grew old at all. But one face today may bring your own past rushing back. Reginald VelJohnson became one of television's most comforting fathers as Carl Winslow on Family Matters, balancing frustration, humor, and genuine warmth. Now 74, he remains instantly familiar and continues making occasional screen appearances. Decades later, Carl Winslow still connects him to viewers who once gathered around the television with their own families. Joanna Kerns became a familiar television mother as Maggie Seaver on Growing Pains, bringing intelligence, patience, and warmth to the lively Seaver household. But her career eventually moved somewhere viewers rarely saw. Now 73, she has spent years directing television, successfully exchanging life in front of the camera for an accomplished second chapter behind it. Renee Russo brought striking elegance to late 1980s Hollywood before Lethal Weapon 3 helped establish her as a confident, sophisticated leading woman. Then she did something unexpected. She stepped away for several years. Now 72, she works selectively and lives more privately, making her occasional screen returns feel like reunions with a star audiences never completely forgot. Michael Chiklis first won viewers over as the warm-hearted Tony Scally on The Commish before The Shield revealed a startlingly darker performer underneath. Now 62, he continues moving between television and film, drama and comedy. Rather than remaining attached to one familiar character, he built longevity by repeatedly showing audiences a completely different side of himself. Alan Thicke became one of the 1980s favorite television fathers as Jason Seaver on Growing Pains, combining calm authority with easy humor. He remained active for decades as an actor, host, and television personality. His life ended unexpectedly in 2016 at 69, leaving that familiar Seaver smile permanently tied to the family television era viewers still remember. Taran Noah Smith grew up before millions as youngest son Mark Taylor on Home Improvement, becoming a familiar face throughout the 1990s. Then he did what few child stars expected. He left acting entirely. Now 42, he has pursued interests outside Hollywood, making his adulthood remarkably different from the television childhood audiences watched unfold every week. Sean Harrison became a familiar 1990s television face as Waldo Faldo on Family Matters, turning his lovable simplicity and comic timing into fan-favorite moments. Now 52, he has kept a considerably lower profile than many former sitcom stars, though he has returned to acting occasionally. For longtime viewers, Waldo remains the character capable of bringing instant recognition. Raven-Symoné charmed audiences as Olivia Kendall on The Cosby Show, beginning a television career before she was even old enough for elementary school. Now 40, she never became another forgotten child star. She successfully reinvented herself through That's So Raven, music, hosting, and producing, eventually becoming the rare childhood performer whose biggest television chapter was still ahead. Emma Thompson emerged as a distinctive British screen talent in the 1980s, combining sharp intelligence, wit, and emotional depth rather than conventional Hollywood glamour. Now 67, she remains remarkably active, moving comfortably between drama, comedy, and major productions. Instead of fading into nostalgia, she has grown into the kind of performer whose later roles can be as memorable as her earlier ones. Bernie Mac brought fearless stand-up energy to television, turning The Bernie Mac Show into a sharp, affectionate portrait of unconventional family life. His career was still thriving when illness brought an ending few viewers expected. He passed away in 2008 at only 50, leaving audiences without the long later chapter his enormous personality seemed destined to have. James B. Sicking became a commanding television presence as Lieutenant Howard Hunter on Hill Street Blues, making rigid authority unexpectedly funny and memorable. He continued acting for decades before eventually retiring from the screen. He passed away in 2024 at 90, leaving behind the kind of distinctive character work that could make even a supporting role feel essential. Patricia Richardson became the grounded heart of home improvement as Jill Taylor, matching Tim Allen's comedy with warmth, intelligence, and believable frustration. Now 75, she has worked selectively rather than chasing another long-running sitcom. She has also spoken openly about leaving the series, giving viewers a clearer picture of the choices behind her quieter post-Taylor years. Joe Pesci could explode with menace in Goodfellas and then become hilariously unforgettable in Home Alone, displaying an extraordinary range few actors possessed. Now 83, he keeps an unusually private life and rarely appears on screen. Yet retirement has never seemed completely permanent, with occasional returns reminding audiences how quickly his voice and presence can command attention. Stephen Baldwin became a recognizable 1990s presence through films including The Usual Suspects, bringing restless energy to a family already famous in Hollywood. Now 60, his path has moved far beyond conventional acting, with faith and public appearances becoming prominent parts of his life. He still takes occasional roles, though his career ultimately followed a very different trajectory from his brother's. Bryton James first entered millions of homes as young Richie Crawford on Family Matters, growing up before audiences during the sitcom's long 1990s run. But childhood fame was only the beginning. Now 40, he has built an enduring second television identity as Devin Hamilton on The Young and the Restless, successfully carrying his career from sitcom childhood into daytime adulthood. Leslie Uggams became a television trailblazer through Sing Along with Mitch before Roots revealed her powerful dramatic range to millions of viewers. Now 83, she is enjoying remarkable late-career visibility rather than retirement. She continues acting across television and film, reaching younger audiences through projects like Deadpool while carrying a career that stretches back to television's earliest decades. Michael Keaton moved from television comedy into movie stardom, with Batman transforming his quirky energy into one of Hollywood's most unexpected leading man triumphs. Now 74, he remains a formidable screen presence after several major career revivals. Rather than settling into nostalgia, he continues choosing prominent roles, proving that disappearing from the spotlight temporarily never meant his best work was finished. William "Billy" Baldwin became a recognizable 1990s leading man through Backdraft, bringing dark-haired charm and intensity to the famous Baldwin acting family. Now 63, he continues working across film and television without chasing the level of celebrity that once surrounded him. His career has become quieter but enduring, keeping him on screen decades after his youthful leading man years. Sharon Tate emerged in the 1960s as a luminous young actress, with Valley of the Dolls making her beauty familiar to audiences worldwide. Tragically, There would be no later chapter for viewers to rediscover. She was murdered in 1969 at only 26, leaving her forever preserved as the young woman whose promising Hollywood future was taken away before it could fully unfold. Jolie Richardson emerged from a celebrated acting family before Nip/Tuck made her a familiar television presence, blending elegance with emotionally complicated drama. Now 61, she continues working steadily across film, television, and theater rather than retreating into her family legacy. Her career has endured on its own terms, carrying the Redgrave dynasty forward while remaining distinctly hers. Sam Shepard brought a weathered, quietly magnetic presence to screen roles like The Right Stuff, though writing remained equally central to his remarkable career. His later years balanced acting with acclaimed work as a playwright and author, even as illness progressed privately. He passed away in 2017 at 73, leaving behind an artistic legacy reaching far beyond Hollywood. Daniel J. Travanti became unforgettable as Captain Frank Furillo on Hill Street Blues, bringing restraint and weary humanity to television's groundbreaking police drama. Now 86, he has lived far more quietly since his busiest acting decades, with screen appearances becoming increasingly rare. For longtime viewers, Furillo remains the defining image, a calm presence holding together a television precinct filled with chaos. Kirstie Alley became a television sensation as Rebecca Howe on Cheers, combining glamorous confidence with vulnerability and fearless comic timing. She remained a familiar personality long after leaving the bar, moving through acting, reality television, and public appearances. She passed away in 2022 at 71 following a brief battle with cancer, a loss that surprised many longtime viewers. Stellan Skarsgård built his reputation in European cinema before becoming a familiar international presence through films and television filled with complex, unpredictable characters. Now 75, he remains remarkably active, moving between intimate dramas and enormous global productions. Rather than slowing into retirement, he continues adding acclaimed performances to a career that has also produced one of acting's most recognizable families. Jo Marie Payton gave Family Matters much of its original warmth as Harriet Winslow, the strong, funny mother holding the Winslow household together. Now 76, she remains connected to entertainment through acting and voice work while embracing the affections surrounding the sitcom. Decades later, audiences still recognize the reassuring energy that made Harriet feel less like a character than family. Sherry Johnson became a familiar young television face through Punky Brewster before Family Matters made her part of another beloved sitcom generation. Now 50, she has expanded well beyond childhood acting into writing, producing, and entrepreneurship while continuing occasional screen work. Instead of becoming another vanished child star, she quietly built an adult career on both sides of the camera. Natasha McElhone brought refined, quietly mysterious beauty to 1990s films before later television roles introduced her to audiences through increasingly complex characters. Now 56, she continues moving between British and American productions, with acting remaining central to her life. Rather than being defined by one nostalgic role, she has built longevity through constant reinvention across film, television, and theater. Ed Harris became one of Hollywood's most dependable dramatic actors through films like The Right Stuff, bringing intensity without ever needing conventional movie star flash. Now 75, he remains active across film, television, and theater, still drawn to demanding characters. His familiar silver-haired appearance may signal passing decades, but the focused intensity audiences remember has barely changed. Jaleel White transformed Steve Urkel from a supporting character into the unforgettable phenomenon of Family Matters, with one voice and pair of suspenders defining 1990s television. Now 49, he has spent years moving beyond the character through acting, voice work, hosting, and writing. Yet one familiar question still follows him. Can audiences ever truly separate the man from Urkel? John Cleese turned absurdity into television history through Monty Python and Fawlty Towers, his towering presence and razor-sharp timing becoming unmistakably British comedy. Now 86, retirement still seems unable to contain him. He continues writing, performing, and appearing publicly, proving that while television has transformed beyond recognition, the mischievous comic intelligence behind Basil Fawlty remains remarkably intact. Jamie Foxworth became familiar as Judy Winslow on Family Matters, until her character suddenly disappeared with almost no explanation to viewers. Her life afterward took difficult and unexpected turns, including years away from mainstream acting. Now 46, she has spoken openly about those struggles and rebuilding her life, giving Judy's unexplained television disappearance a much more complicated human story. Orlando Brown grew up on television through Family Matters and other roles before that, so Raven made him widely recognizable as Eddie Thomas. Now 38, his adulthood has been far more turbulent than his childhood success suggested, marked by highly publicized personal and legal troubles. He has periodically returned to music and public appearances while attempting to move beyond those difficult years. Darius McCrary became a 1990s sitcom favorite as Eddie Winslow on Family Matters, growing from mischievous teenager into young adulthood before millions of viewers. Now 50, he has continued acting and pursuing music, though his later years have also brought personal and legal controversies. Despite everything since, Eddie remains the role that instantly reconnects him with longtime audiences. Kelly Shania Williams grew up before audiences as Laura Winslow on Family Matters, bringing warmth and teenage relatability to the long-running family sitcom. Now 50, she has balanced occasional acting with family life and work beyond the weekly television spotlight. She remains warmly connected to her sitcom past, frequently reuniting with castmates and embracing viewers who essentially watched her grow up. Lynn Shay spent decades as a dependable character actress before horror unexpectedly transformed her into a leading genre icon through the Insidious films. Now 82, she continues acting rather than quietly retiring, enjoying the unusual distinction of reaching some of her greatest recognition later in life. Her career proves that Hollywood's most memorable chapter does not always arrive when performers are young. Peter Sarsgaard emerged during the 1990s before building a reputation for complex, unsettling, and deeply human characters rather than conventional leading man roles. Now 55, he continues choosing challenging work across film, television, and theater. His career has grown steadily rather than explosively, making him one of those familiar actors whose longevity quietly became more impressive with every passing decade. Jonathan Taylor Thomas became one of the 1990s biggest teenage television favorites as Randy Taylor on Home Improvement, then seemingly vanished at his peak. That disappearance was largely his choice. Now 44, he has kept an exceptionally private life after stepping away from regular acting, making rare appearances that immediately revive memories of the young heartthrob audiences never expected to lose sight of. Leonardo DiCaprio first reached television audiences through Growing Pains before movies transformed the teenage actor into one of his generation's defining stars. Now 51, he remains at Hollywood's highest level, choosing major films while devoting substantial attention to environmental causes. Unlike many young television performers, his early sitcom years became merely the opening scene of an extraordinary career. Zachary Ty Bryan became familiar as Brad Taylor on Home Improvement, playing the athletic eldest son throughout nearly the entire sitcom run. Now 44, his post-Hollywood story has become far more troubled, including repeated arrests and legal problems that sharply contrast with his wholesome television image. His journey remains one of the more unsettling turns among the show's former young stars. Mary Steenburgen brought warmth and intelligence to films before becoming an increasingly familiar television presence across several generations of comedy and drama. Now 73, she remains active rather than settling into retirement, continuing to take screen roles while also pursuing music and songwriting. Her later career feels less like a comeback than the continuation of a performer who simply never disappeared. Richard Mall towered over Night Court as the intimidating but surprisingly gentle Bull Shannon, turning an imposing presence into lovable television comedy. After the series, he continued working extensively in acting and voice roles before gradually retiring. He passed away in 2023 at 80, leaving Bull as the wonderfully odd courtroom giant generations of viewers remember. Chevy Chase became one of comedy's defining faces through Saturday Night Live and later films, bringing dry arrogance and physical chaos to everything he touched. Now 82, his screen work has slowed, though public appearances still draw nostalgic attention. Decades of controversies complicated his reputation, but his unmistakable comic persona remains embedded in American entertainment history. Stockard Channing commanded attention with wit, intelligence, and edge, from Grease to her television success as Abby Bartlett on The West Wing. Now 82, she works more selectively after decades across stage and screen. Rather than belonging to one era, she became that rare performer audiences rediscovered repeatedly as both she and her characters grew older. Beverly D'Angelo became forever linked with family comedy as Ellen Griswold in National Lampoon's Vacation, matching Chevy Chase with warmth and wonderfully weary humor. Now 74, she continues appearing on screen while embracing the affection surrounding the franchise. Time has changed the Griswold parents, but seeing her today can still make those chaotic family vacations feel surprisingly close. Kitty Wynn earned acclaim in the 1970s through the Panic in Needle Park before The Exorcist placed her inside an unforgettable cultural phenomenon. Then, unusually, she walked away from acting. Now 82, she has lived largely outside Hollywood for decades, making her story less about continued fame than the deliberate choice to leave it behind. Tim Allen turned his stand-up persona into 1990s television gold as Tim Taylor on Home Improvement, making masculine mishaps and family chaos enormously popular. Now 73, he remains active, repeatedly returning to television and familiar comedic territory. Rather than becoming merely a sitcom memory, he has sustained a career across generations, including his enduring Santa Claus legacy. Treat Williams brought easygoing charisma to film before television audiences embraced him in Everwood, where his warmth anchored the drama. He continued acting steadily into his 70s, with little suggestion his career was nearing its final chapter. Tragically, he died following a motorcycle accident in 2023 at 71, bringing an unexpectedly abrupt end to decades of work. Kim Cattrall spent years acting before Sex and the City transformed Samantha Jones into a television phenomenon synonymous with confidence and fearless independence. Now 70, she continues working while carefully choosing when to revisit that famous world. Her later career shows a performer determined to remain more than the character audiences may always mention first. Thelma Hopkins moved from music into television and became a warm, funny presence across sitcoms including Family Matters, where Rachel Crawford joined the Winslow household. Now 77, she continues acting, carrying a career that has crossed music, comedy, and drama. Her longevity is especially striking because she never depended on a single role to remain familiar. Laura Dern grew up inside a Hollywood family but built an identity entirely her own, emerging in the 1980s through fearless, unconventional performances. Now 59, she remains prominent, moving between acclaimed films and major television roles. Rather than nostalgia defining her later years, awards and challenging performances have made middle age one of her strongest career chapters. Veronica Hamill brought intelligence and cool authority to Hill Street Blues as public defender Joyce Davenport, becoming one of 1980s television's most sophisticated leading women. Now 82, she has been absent from acting for many years and maintains an exceptionally private life. That disappearance makes seeing her today feel like unexpectedly encountering someone television audiences once knew intimately. Holly Hunter became unmistakable through her distinctive voice and fiercely independent performances, with films like Broadcast News establishing her as a singular screen presence. Now 68, she continues taking challenging roles across film and television rather than simply revisiting past success. The youthful face has matured, but that voice can still identify her before audiences even look up. Harry Hamlin became a major 1980s heartthrob before L.A. Law made attorney Michael Cusack one of primetime television's most recognizable leading men. Now 74, he continues acting while embracing an unexpectedly playful public profile alongside wife Lisa Rinna. Rather than disappearing with his heartthrob era, he has remained visible to several generations for remarkably different reasons. Conchata Ferrell spent decades stealing scenes before 2.5 Men made Berta's sarcasm familiar to millions of television viewers. Her success was never about conventional glamour, it was timing, attitude, and an unforgettable delivery. She continued working into her later years before passing away in 2020 at 77, leaving behind one of sitcom television's most distinctive housekeepers. Tracy Gold grew up before viewers as Carol Seaver on Growing Pains, but behind the familiar sitcom smile, she faced a serious struggle with an eating disorder. Now 57, she has spoken openly about recovery while appearing selectively on television. Her story gives those cheerful Seaver family memories another dimension. The child star audiences knew was living a far more difficult reality. Penny Marshall made Laverne DeFazio a working-class television favorite on Laverne and Shirley, but her greatest surprise came after she stepped behind the camera. She became a hugely successful film director, including Big and A League of Their Own. She passed away in 2018 at 75, remembered not only as Laverne, but as a Hollywood trailblazer. Jeremy Miller became a familiar 1980s child star as Ben Seaver on Growing Pains, delivering mischievous humor as the family's youngest son. Adulthood, however, brought challenges far removed from sitcom laughter. Now 49, he has publicly discussed his struggles with alcohol and recovery, while remaining connected to fans who still remember the energetic boy from the Seaver household. Kirk Cameron became a teenage sensation as Mike Seaver on Growing Pains, his mischievous smile making him one of the era's biggest young television stars. Now 55, acting is no longer the center of his public identity. His Christian faith became central to his later career, leading him toward faith-based films, speaking, writing, and religious advocacy. Sybil Shepherd arrived with model beauty and movie star glamour, but moonlighting revealed the sharp comic chemistry that made her unforgettable on 1980s television. Now 76, she lives considerably farther from the constant spotlight, appearing only occasionally on screen. Yet mention Maddie Hayes and longtime viewers can still remember the sparkling battles that made Monday night television feel unpredictable. Natasha Richardson carried the Redgrave family's theatrical tradition into her own acclaimed career, moving gracefully between stage and screen with warmth and sophistication. Her story ended with heartbreaking suddenness after a skiing accident. She passed away in 2009 at only 45, leaving audiences to wonder about the performances and decades of life that should still have been ahead. Judy Ann Elder became a familiar television presence through Family Matters, stepping into the role of Harriet Winslow during the sitcom's final season. Now 78, she has built a much broader life across acting, directing, and theater. Rather than being defined by one late television role, her decades of creative work reveal a career many casual viewers never fully discovered. Chris Cooper spent years quietly building his reputation before performances in films like American Beauty and Adaptation made his understated intensity impossible to overlook. Now 75, he remains a respected character actor, choosing roles with little interest in conventional celebrity. His face has aged naturally, but the restrained presence that made ordinary characters feel completely authentic remains unmistakably his. Peter Dinklage worked steadily through the 1990s before Game of Thrones transformed him into an international star as the brilliant, complicated Tyrion Lannister. Now 57, he continues choosing ambitious film, television, and stage projects rather than chasing another Tyrion. His journey became something few could have predicted, decades of persistence followed by worldwide recognition without surrendering his distinctive identity. Today, we searched for the actors we once loved, but perhaps we found pieces of our own lives instead. Their younger faces belonged to evenings when families gathered around one television, when our parents were still here, our children were young, and tomorrow seemed very far away. Some stars changed beyond recognition, some never had the chance. But the memories remained untouched. Thank you for watching Echoes of Hollywood. Tell us, which face tonight brought back someone, somewhere, or a moment you wish you could visit once more?